So you're PCSing to Hawaii, and maybe it's your first time you've ever done it and you're wondering, what the heck am I supposed to do? Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you a nice organized checklist on things you're gonna wanna keep in mind and plan for when PCSing yourself and or your family and pets when you're coming to Hawaii. So stick around to get all the details. See you on the other side. Guys, like I mentioned in this video, we're gonna go over the checklist and things you're gonna wanna keep in mind when it comes to PCSing to Hawaii. Maybe this is your first time actually doing it and you're feeling lost. Well, don't worry, I'm actually gonna cover a lot of things that are gonna help the process. Now, before we jump into that, if this is your first time here, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Patrick Longley. I'm a licensed real estate agent out here in Oahu, Hawaii, and have been for nearly a decade, helping military service members when it comes to their PCS process coming over here, and also when it comes to leveraging their VA loan to purchase a home and investment property. Now, if you have any questions or you just want to connect with me, by all means, I've got my contact information right here, or you can directly DM me on any of my social media platforms. With that being said, let's get into the PCS guide or PCS checklist when coming to Hawaii. So step one, you will get your letter and your duty station where you're actually going to be locating or actually going. They're first off going to tell you where you're going to go. Now those things could change. We know how the military is. Hurry up and wait, and always changing it up on you. But they'll basically tell you, hey, this is where we're going to ship you off to. When that's actually going to happen, we'll tell you later. But that'll be step one, is actually getting your duty station. The second step is you're going to get your levy brief. This is generally just a meeting where they're going to sit you down and tell you anything and everything you need to know about what you're going to do prior to actually PCSing and what you're going to need to do when it comes to actually arriving and where you need to check in and figure out housing and all of that. So that's going to actually jam-pack a lot of the information I'm going to go over today, but you are smart because you're actually doing your due diligence prior to the levy brief. Now, the third thing is you're going to actually get your orders. Now, when you get these orders, a quick tip, make tons of copies. You're going to be passing these orders out like hotcakes. So make tons of copies, put them in a nice detailed folder for you and your spouse. So that whenever you're going through this process, you can hand them out without worrying about only having one. And also make a copy of everybody's driver license and things of that nature. Now, the fourth step, if you are with your family, you're going to want to set up the EMFP process, which stands for Exceptional Family Member Program. Now, basically what you're going to want to do is have yourself as well as your family members check in with the doctor. And the reason why they do this is just to basically make sure if there's any special needs or health needs that you or your family need prior to arriving, that they actually have, specialty doctors, whatever it is, where you'll be located. So that's kind of all planned for you. You're going to want to do that prior to actually arriving so that you have those things lined up. So make sure you set that up. And once you actually get those documents from the doctor, you're going to want to submit those documents so that your family can actually be on the orders instead of just you yourself. So that's really important to do, because sometimes family members get scared that they don't see their names on the orders. They will after you go through that process. The fifth step is you're going to want to go to the travel office. This is where you're actually going to get your report date, and you can start planning on actually purchasing your tickets when it comes to PCSing to Hawaii. Now, of course, the government's going to take care of those flights, which is always amazing. But one quick tip and thing to understand is they generally, depending on how you're shipping your pet, sometimes will not actually pay for the extra charge when it comes to bringing your pet over. So something to keep in mind. The sixth step is that if you do have a fur baby that you're bringing over to the island, definitely check out the video that I have right here that goes over the process. It's a very similar process on whether you're a civilian or a military service member. Because Hawaii is a rabies-free state, there's a lot of steps, and it takes some time if you don't want your pet to quarantine when they arrive. And I would highly suggest that you plan accordingly, at least 3 months in advance. Yes, 3 months in advance, to make sure that you get all the blood tests, you get the rabies shots, you get the documents in order, and then you're also going to want to purchase a flight or a ticket for your pup if they are not included in the cargo, which they generally are not. And that's something, once again, that's not going to be covered by the military. So you're going to want to plan this all accordingly. I would highly suggest using a flight company that allows for pets to be shipped, and preferably on the same flight that you're on, so you can feel comfortable knowing that you're on the flight and your pet is just down below in the cargo. Generally, one of the best I would suggest is Hawaiian Airlines. They usually have a pretty good pet policy, and you want to preferably book the same flight for your pet and for yourself, so you're on the same flight. That's just something that I would suggest. I got a pet and I'd be worried if we were on 2 different flights. So just a suggestion. Step number 7, and this is a big one, is deciding on whether you want to live on post, rent, or buy. Now, I'm going to go over this in very much detail because this is a big part of when you actually PCS over here. You want to plan accordingly for this. So let's go over slightly the pros and cons of it. I have a video over here that goes over the entire thing in more detail, but I'll briefly go over it right now. Now, if you live on post, you're definitely going to want to make sure you get on the waiting list. Now, depending on whether it's a busy PCS season, you may be on that wait list for a couple weeks to possibly 30 or 60 days, and they may not even have room for you. So you definitely want to check in and get on that wait list as soon as possible if you're planning on living on post. Now, your second option, of course, is to rent. And I always suggest to rent or buy instead of living on post, preferably because you get that oh so sweet tax-free BAH. And if you actually find a rental property that you can find that's lower than your BAH, you actually can pocket some of that cash, which I always highly suggest. So that's always an option for you. Now, renting can be a little difficult without you actually being here. Reach out to me if you need some assistance. I can connect you with the right property manager who can maybe help facilitate putting you in a home. But it's sometimes difficult doing it yourself because most landlords don't want to rent to somebody that they don't know is actually going to show up, or if they know if they're legit, or they haven't even seen the property, or whether they're going to like it sight unseen. It's sometimes difficult, specifically out here in Hawaii. So again, reach out to me if you need some assistance. I got my contact information right here, so feel free to give me a call. And your third option is to buy. Now, of course, I'm a real estate agent, so I'm always a big fan of buying, and I generally work 80% of my clients are VA, and I help a lot of them with their investing needs. I've got tons of videos that go over that, but buying, I believe, is one of the best options because you have a short amount of time here, 3 years, and that allows you the opportunity to leverage that VA loan, which is going to be a 0 down payment, where every other civilian has to put 3.5 to 10% down, and you get to live in it as your primary residence. And when you leave or PCS, you can sell it, cash out, or rent it and ride that appreciation train. It's one of the best options, and it's a small chapter in your life where you actually get to live in a beautiful place that has one of the strongest real estate markets and leverage the VA loan, because you can't leverage the VA loan to purchase a Hawaii property when you're living in North Carolina or Texas or Alabama, wherever your duty station is. So this is a short chapter where you get to actually leverage that VA loan to own a piece of property in paradise that's one of the strongest real estate markets in the nation. So just something to keep in mind. But again, one other thing you got to keep in mind is with that 4 to 6% appreciation, just to give you a sample, let's say you buy a $500,000 condo, it appreciates on the low end 4%. That's an extra $20,000 that you're going to make in equity on the low end every single year. So when you leave, you generally would have about $60,000 in equity that you could cash out on, opposed to renting, where you're basically going to be paying somebody else's mortgage payment, and when you leave, you own nothing. So just something to keep in mind. Shameless plug again, I am a real estate agent. If you want to talk more about it, got my contact information right here. Or if you want to learn more about leveraging that VA loan course, I actually have A to Z course with 50 plus videos that shows you how to leverage that VA loan and turn it into an investment property and build wealth for you and your family. If you want to get free access to that, feel free to reach out to me. You can call, text, or email me, and I'll get you a free coupon code. Or if you don't want to reach out to me, I got a link down below and you can purchase it. But I would just suggest give me a ring so you get it for free. The 8th step is you are going to want to schedule for your HHG pickup. This is for moving your items over to Hawaii. Now you're gonna wanna schedule this accordingly. Sometimes it's a couple weeks, maybe it's a month in advance, depending on how soon you want your items to actually arrive. Talk to your sponsor about how the PCS season is gonna be looking, how quick it's actually gonna arrive, so that you can time it accordingly. The 9th step is you're going to want to prepare your vehicle for shipping out to Hawaii. Now, the military will cover one vehicle. If you have multiple vehicles, you're going to have to pay for that out of pocket, but you're going to want to contact the vehicle processing center so you can actually fill out the paperwork, get your actual vehicle ready to actually ship. I've got a video right here that goes over the step-by-step process, but once again, I'll summarize it since you're already here. You're going to want to make sure that you only have like a quarter tank of gas in there. You don't want to have any items in the car. They will not ship it if you have items in the car. I mean, nothing. Take everything out of the glove compartment, so you're not moving anything in that vehicle. It's only the vehicle. Don't try to get around it. You'll get screwed over, so make sure you don't do that. So just make sure that you plan accordingly. And quick tip, before you actually ship your vehicle or when you actually arrive to the VPC, make sure you take tons of photos. It's always good to document so that if things happen, if it gets scratched or what have you, at least have some documentation so you can get paid back or reimbursed for any damage that they had to your vehicle. Now, another quick tip is if you have 2 vehicles you're going to ship, I would highly suggest that you use the military's money to ship the heaviest vehicle, because the cost of shipping a vehicle is generally based not only on distance, which is going to be the same on whatever vehicle you're using, but also on weight. So make sure that you use the military's money to ship the heavier vehicle opposed to the lighter one. The 10th step is you are going to want to pick the hotel that you will be staying in if you're not moving right into a property, or you'll be able to move right into your rental or right onto post. You're going to want to pick a hotel. Now, generally, they're going to provide you a list of the hotel options that are actually PCS certified, but you're also going to want to look at some of the rules, regulations, and things that are covered. For example, is that hotel pet friendly if you have a pet? Do they waive parking fees? Because that can really start to add up. And then you're also going to want to look at where are those hotels located in relation to where your duty station is, because you don't want to drive too much. So just things to keep in mind. Now, the next thing is you are going to want to start preparing to pack for HHG, or the shipping company that's going to be shipping your stuff off. So what you're going to want to do is start taking stuff off the walls, start organizing and packaging stuff. And one thing and a quick tip that I would highly suggest is, once again, take photos of everything. Also, turn on all your electronics and take photos and videos of the electronics actually working, so that when they arrive and the TV doesn't work, you have proof of it. And lastly, make an inventory list so that you're nice and organized when things come in, whether they're labeled and you have an inventory list that matches it. Just do your due diligence up front. It really helps that when that stuff arrives. I've heard plenty of horror stories of things gone missing, going shipped literally to the wrong duty station, and things being broken. You want to organize yourself and get everything up front so everybody can stay honest and there isn't any back and forth. The 12th thing you're going to want to do, you now know when you're going to arrive. You booked your flights, you got all that stuff organized. Now your car may or may not arrive on time when you're there. Generally it doesn't, so you want to plan for the worst and hope for the best. And generally the best thing to do is to rent a car. Now out here in Hawaii, depending on when you're actually shipping out here, there might be a shortage if it's during the peak season of either PCS and or the tour season. So you're going to want to book that rental for that car rental as soon as possible so that it's already lined up for you. Now another tip, I've had a couple clients who've rented cars before and they've seen a little expensive when you use Avis or any of those things. See if you can actually use Turo. I've seen that that's a much cheaper option, but I'm not sure if the military will actually cover that. I'm sure they would, but just double check it. And if anybody knows, put it in the comment section down below. But I found that Turo is way cheaper than, you know, the Avises or the dollar rental companies. Now the 13th and final thing is to budget. Now it's really important to understand that, especially if it's your first time PCSing, that yes, the military will cover a lot of the expenses when it comes to moving or PCSing to Hawaii, but there are certain things that they will not cover. Again, some of those expenses would be that second vehicle, or certain aspects of getting the shots and everything you need for your pet. So you need to budget accordingly. And additionally, a lot of times you will get reimbursed for your TLA, right? So you're gonna go book that hotel, you will have to pay for the hotel up front, and every 10 days you have to go to the office to get reimbursed. So make sure that you always have receipts. Either have the receipt, take a photo of the receipt, but just document everything. So every 10 days you can go back to the office, get a payment for the money that you had to pay out of pocket, which is really important to budget for, because they're not just going to pay for everything and it's all done. You actually have to pay for it and then get reimbursed after. So unless you want to be living on a real tight budget and be paying out and really wondering, I hope I can still get that money, you want to budget and have a little bit of cushion so that you can refill up that tank of money every 10 days. So just budget accordingly. And that's pretty much it. So I know that was a lot to cover. I hope it was helpful. If you guys got any value out of this content, if you guys could do me a huge favor, smash that like button, as well as click the subscribe and notification bell so you get notified whenever I drop videos just like this. And once again, if you do want to get access to that VA loan course and leveraging it to purchase real estate and build wealth for you and your family, again, just reach out to me. I got my contact information right here, or you can directly DM me on any of my social media platforms and I'll get you a free coupon code for that 50+ video course. And if you just want to talk story, hit me up. I'd love to hear from you and love to chat with you. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm Patrick with PatrickLongleyRealty.com, powered by eXp Realty. Hope you have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Aloha.